looking back at Futureshock Danger Zone. I am Petter Brads, joined for once, not with my unofficial official co-host, but we are joined by Sam from Ramblin about Wrestling. Hello, Sam.
Hello, it's lovely to be here, back again.
Yeah.
Way.
Oh, this was a really good show. So we'll move quite quickly with this because we have an all-nighter, Sam and me, in doing podcasts. So we will still give it a lot of time. Do not worry. Um, the opening contest. Yeah, all expense spared on this podcast. uh, was your opener in Peter Sador taking on John. So the notes before we ask Sam what he thought. And I don't have that many notes, in fairness, but there's what I got. So John comes to the ring limping for some reason. I don't know if he picked up or fell on the stage because he seemed fine when he came out, and they just seemed to hobble round the ringside. Uh, in any event, Sador immediately drop kicks the bad leg and zones in on it, dropping elbows, draping the leg over Brett's rope, which, if you do not know, is the middle rope. Kicks the rope just to increase the pain threshold. Sador then does it again with the leg on the rope. And only this time he does a drop kick to it. A kind of running takedown and then just flurry of punches on John. Sador then pulls him to corner from the outside, wrapping his leg around the ring post, then drives him face first into the same ring post, puts on a figure four back inside the ring with kind of like the foot pressing against the knee to add more pressure. Effectively, that was the theme of this contest. Sador just focusing on the right knee, I believe, of John. It's probably the left knee. I've said that now. However, John grabs his hand of the foe uh, while he's in that figure four, drives the hand down to the mat so he can escape. However, Sador, getting emotional there, Sador responds with a bounce off Brett's rope and a devastating clothesline. Then, depending your outlook on life, he either hit the kill switch or the unprettier, depending where you fall on that. But it gets reversed into a roll up for two, a twisting sit down powerbomb for two, because I can't remember what the actual name of the move is. Sador runs the ropes furiously as he does, before giving him a slap, which is one of my favorite little spots that Sador does now. Because you feel he's going to do kind of like a really aggressive attack. And it's just like, no, I'll just give you a slap on the face. John fights back with chops on Sador, hits a standing clothesline, follows it up with a gut wrench suplex. However, Sador pushes John into Greenwood, who cowers, or defends himself, whichever way you want to look at it. And as John stops before hitting Greenwood, Sador gives him a kick right up the balls from behind. Hits an unprettier slash kill switch for two. However, it sees a roll up by John. That sees him getting a two. Sador runs at John in the corner. John sidesteps. Sador goes shoulder first into the ring post. and John picks up the win with a kind of twisting brainbuster suplex. Uh, this was a really good opening contest. Something that Future Shock have started to do extremely well now. Almost feels like the match of the nights come from these opening bouts. Uh, John, John is John. I think, I think that's what we can say. Uh, he's very slow to get going, uh, but then he does what's needed in the end, and that's all you can ask. Sador, as far as I know, is that 18 and 0, 19 and 0.
Isaiah Quinn confirmed it on his Instagram story that is 18 and 0
Hey,
for or 0 and 18 as you
yes, I should.
traditionally would say it. He hasn't got
Yes,
18 wins.
I mean we could do it the American way, seeing as they do the dates backwards.
Yeah.
But yes, it is 0 and 18, approaching the opposite Undertaker streak. Um,
Yeah, I've been saying since they've brought up the losing streak, they should do uh the 1 in 1 and 21 for a while. I believe if they were to do that, that would bring them to November.
hey,
If I
Christmas
get
miracles
my
around the corner.
yeah, if my maths is correct. I really enjoyed this contest.
Mm.
Um, Sador has sprouted into this wonderful heelish uh butterfly, even though the crowd like loves him. He is just so good at throwing a tantrum professionally. When he comes out and I can't even remember what he does, but he does something to like um the people in front of me, and it's just like, yeah, yeah, and you, and
Yeah.
it's just like he was so good at just throwing a tantrum, and it's always a laugh to watch him. I'm thoroughly entertained whenever Sador is in front of my face.
It's it's the thing with normally in his entrances, he'll just come out and be, in a sense, happy-go-lucky and just say, "I'm better than you, I'm better than you," and he'll just pick on everyone. On this occasion, he was just grumpy Sador.
Oh,
That's effectively what he was. Old man Sador. He went
old
up,
man yells at Cloud.
yes, effectively, because he ended up walking round to our side and just went, "Shut up," and then just carried walking round to where I think where you were. And I thought to myself, "Oh, we're getting a is not a happy-go-lucky Sador today." Um, it's if you have to have a guilty pleasure, it is Sador.
Yeah, he's like the chocolate of the Brit rest scene. Might not be the healthiest for you, but everyone loves a bit of Sador in the morning.
What what kind of chocolate?
Um, Ginger nut?
If anyone wants to suggest uh, chocolates that Sador is, um, send them in. We'll be happy to hear. I dread to think some of the answers we'll get.
And
I truly do.
John was great too. I love how it's basically just the John Cena gimmick mixed with like Orange Cassidy,
Yeah.
where it's not in the way like Orange Cassidy where he has to put a, a big amount of effort in to look like he's not putting any effort in, but in the way of it. I just love how he over exaggerates the punch every time. You know, the little
Mm,
punches Cena does and now John does, where he just over exaggerate and winds it more up every single time I see it. Um, both of these guys really over recently. I think
mm.
if you go to the end of this year and you look back who was the breakout, of 2026, either or could be
Mm.
argued between these two. Um, we'll just have to see how the rest of the year pans out for them in Future Shock. But have to agree with you. This continues the trend of the really great opening contests, and it's really nice to see them put trust in Sador and John to deliver and get the night started off correctly.
On the you saying it's a mix between Cena and Cassidy, I would go even further back because I'm not that age, but I am old. Uh, I would say he is a mixture of Orange Cassidy and Les Kellett for those that have seen World of Sport. Uh, and is a fellow Yorkshireman, so you should know him. Uh, shame on you. Um, I was going to try and find a sound effect, and I cannot find the one I wanted to use. Damn. So that was match number one. We come to match number two. And it was the gauntlet match between Najay and the Horde. So, and you will have to bear with me because I have quite a lot of notes. So we start off with Najay against Haley Cooling. Najay takes him down and rains punches very much from the off. Hits again, I can't remember the move, so I've tried to go technical. Uh, a rope assisted arm drag. Uh, it will probably hit me what the actual move is, but I'm going to get that. Cooling responds with a beautiful tiger suplex and clotheslines in the corner. Najay then hits it's like a belly to back release face buster, so to speak. I mean, when you watch the video clip that I will put alongside this, you will very much know what I mean. Audio wise, won't make any clue whatsoever. Um, However, Najay picks up the win. That means we move to number two, which was Seraphim. And it didn't dawn on me till editing the little highlights of this match is that Najay throws the shirt at Seraphim when he gets in the ring. It just tickled me, to be fair, when I saw that. But from there, it saw Seraphim kind of having a purple patch, if you like. Hits a backstabber, then double knees into the back of Najay. The second time of doing it in the corner sees him getting nothing but turnbuckle. An interesting maneuver he does then, where he does like a step up double leg drop on the back of Nadjas. Uh, he then does a surfboard and turns the surfboard into a dragon sleeper, which was a sweet move. Um, Double knees to the back of the head of Najay. Um, Najay then hits I'd call it a Harlem sidekick because it's what I used to do on WCW Mayhem years ago because I always used to do it with Booker T. Ends up with Najay winning with a single leg crab. We then move on into the gauntlet with him taking on the monster Solomon. This was more like a squash match in kind of like in a gauntlet match. As Najay goes to hit Solomon, Solomon catches him, hits a one-handed powerbomb on him, then throws him around like a rag doll. Gorgon then comes out at ringside. Uh, NJ hits a shotgun dropkick, attempts to do another rope assisted arm drag, but is thrown backwards from Solomon. Solomon then hits two Razor's Edges, with every time Gorgon demanding more and another one. The third attempt sees him having him high up in the air, but then just dropping him and decides to leave leave the ring, if you want perfect English. Solomon's then kind of just looks up to the sky and torn between what to do. Gorgon then grabs his arm and tells him to get back. However, Solomon decides, no, I've had enough, and ends up walking back through the curtain, getting himself counted out. And so we are left with effectively the, the main course, if you like, of NJ versus Gorgon. So we see Gorgon hitting a double foot stomp to the neck of NJ. This is going to annoy me now. Looks for the submission on NJ. I think he has him in kind of like an arm bar, or goes to stretch him. Again, the video will show what happened. Hits a sit down suplex slam. NJ then hits a release side facebuster before firing back with chops and punches. Gorgon looks to hit that same maneuver he did earlier with kind of like it's normally like the knees to the side of the head, but it's more the feet. However, he does it once too often. NJ catches his leg and hooks in a single leg crab. Gorgon looks like he's going to get the ropes. NJ pulls him into the center and really cranks on it. And so we have Gorgon tapping out as NJ wins this gauntlet match. Sam, well, I get a drink.
I love the terminology of cranks on it. That's really good. This match, it was. I, I, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't expecting as much. Um, because this story has always been that Gorgon has been putting everything in AJ's way in order to get to him,
Hmm.
and AJ not quite being able to get there. I was expecting there to be some form of distract the ref, poison mist, you know,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Which probably made me completely forgot that for the past couple of months they've been setting up the this angle between Solomon and Gorgon. So so it wasn't until Gorgon started being over demanding of Solomon where I remembered, oh yeah, they've been building this. Um so it did surprise me that that Solomon just up and left, because we did see his frustrations during the match he had with NJ last time at the Guildhall, but I didn't think they would um he would split from the Horde this quickly,
Yeah.
because I just didn't expect that, because I'm guessing this now feud with NJ is done. NJ got his revenge, beat all the Horde. NJ is assumedly done with them, because what else can he do?
You would
He's
imagine
beat
so now.
he's beaten all of them, so I think this is going to lead us into anniversary.
Hmm.
A Horde in every corner match, maybe. Um, but based on performances in the match, what I really liked is that Seraphin got a spotlight. I believe he got the longest time out of any Horde member in the ring. And I did like it because recently Haley Cooling has broken out. You know, he had that moment at For the Love of Wrestling and the
Mm,
Rumble. We've obviously Gorgon, you know, is the leader of the Horde, and um, Solomon has had, you know, this angle with Gorgon now. So I'm glad that Seraphim got, you know, his chance, you know, to perform so that it feels like we're keeping the Horde all on an even playing
mm.
field. You know, no one's outshining each other. So I
It,
did like that a lot. And I liked the more technical wrestling, like the submissions, like we're saying at Catch.
mm,
Uh, Najee has been, you know, developing more of his ground and pound submission based moveset. And I think two, two out of the three people because Solomon walked out, so two out of the three
yeah.
people he did, you know, defeat, um, was by submission,
Mm,
Seraphim and Gorgon.
yeah.
So I really liked, you know, seeing that style because it's a bit different than the other people on the roster at Futureshock. So it was nice seeing that sort of match here. So yeah, I think this was a solid contest. Though Najee didn't beat that guy in the crowd, though. I'm surprised that he left him.
You mean that guy with the mask on?
Yeah, the other Hall member in the crowd, yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand him, to be fair.
Yeah, he has bad breath.
Yeah. Um,
He had the kicks cats.
I've I, I've heard similar, to be fair. Um, just just weird.
Hmm.
Don't like him. Um, in reference to cooling, as you, it didn't dawn on me until you mentioned it. But if you actually look at the Horde, you'd say a few months ago they felt very much a case of they were just going out and not really doing a whole lot. But over time, we've seen it's been kind of Solomon and Gorgon doing their own thing. And in recent times, it's all cooling, really getting better with every single match. The contest with Saxa at the Greatest Showcase at Fairfield, I think if people didn't know how good he was before, I feel that one just elevated him a bit more.
And that wasn't planned.
No,
Like, that would have had at most a day
yeah,
because
I
didn't
don't
Lily
even think it
Winter
was a
get
day.
injured that week?
Hmm.
So, yeah.
And then this definitely felt more of a showcase for Seraphim because again, we've seen glimpses of what they can do, but on this occasion, they stood out in the whole of this kind of like gauntlet match. They were the one that stood out. I'd say the most. You knew. I mean, we're not being killing thing here, but we knew it was going to go effectively to Gorgon at the end. Solomon, we know what he can do, but it felt very much of right. We'll give the other two the spotlight, and then we'll kind of go more storyline driven on the final two. Which
Yeah.
the way they done it worked out almost perfect.
It was a different flavor each match. Like you
Mm,
had the high flying, quick pace with Cooling and AJ, which they both excel at.
yeah,
Then Seraphim, it was the more uh it was more slowed down and sort of like hard hitting
yeah,
between the pair. Then the squash match with Solomon and then
mm,
Gorgon. That was the more technical
yeah,
reversals and with submissions being reversed. So you really got a mix of all the different styles that each Horde member excels in
yeah,
this one, which I think to showcase the Horde is really well because it did kind of feel for a while that they had been usurped by the McCarthy PC being the top heel faction. But I still want to see that McCarthy PC and Horde, and this is a valid case for that because the different styles of matches you can get between them would be amazing.
It'd be different. That's definitely one thing. But this did exactly what it needed, and fair play on all. We then come to Gen 1 up against the Tevlins. I'm taking these off because they are annoying me now. So we then had, as I say, Gen 1 and the Tevlins. And this was a fun little match, if truth be told. So we had Pele getting the crowd going. Hang on 1 minute, just let me double check. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I coming through clear?
Yes.
Okay. We've had a couple of technical difficulties, so just want to get that all sorted. But yes, Pele gets the crowd going with his dance moves and clapping, proving the theory that Shakira had of hips don't lie, and Pele's hips definitely do not lie. Gen 1 have the early advantage where Grayson has both Tevlins in the corner. I did enjoy this spot. Goes to chop KJ, but he ducks, hits his brother Aiden, who is right behind him in the corner. Grayson goes to chop KJ again. Same result. Aiden gets effectively the brunt of it. The third attempt sees Grayson stopping, and then Aiden smacks his brother in the back, holds back the arms of KJ, allowing Grayson to give him a big old meaty chop. We then see the Tevlins take over with Pele on the outside getting beat down. Grayson is then left isolated in the ring as the Tevlins begin to wear him down. Aiden hits a tornado clothesline on Grayson, having had KJ throwing him into the path of his brother. Pele then gets the tag, hits an unorthodox move of a back-to-back arms hooked, kind of like a backslide, but falls, I mean, no other word to use than this, to his ass. It looks like a backbreaker of sorts, but I'm guessing at that. Pele then hits a boss man slam, followed by a double team by Gen 1, where they take the legs from one of the Tevlins and hits a clothesline. My page has gone funny. There we go. The Tevlins fight back with KJ hitting a jumping clothesline in the corner. Can I get a woof?
Ooh.
Aiden then hits a coast to coast. Soon follows it up with an impaler DDT. Double team from the Tevlins, which was a really nice move. To which they kind of both pick him up. I think it was Grayson. So KJ has the feet of Grayson on his shoulders. Aiden has Grayson by the neck. And KJ just kind of like pushes him back, and Aiden completes a suplex. A unique move, but I really enjoyed it. Gen 1 get the win, however, with a double team where they drop KJ face first into the mat for the 1, 2, 3. Gen 1 are your winners and still remain a tag team with the stipulation going forward, really, for them. For if they, or the next time they lose a tag match, Gen 1 have to disband. Samuel, what was your take?
I really enjoyed this match. It was a lot of fun to watch. I liked how it showed a more comedic side to the Tevlins. I really liked the spot where they're in the corner. Uh, I think it's Grayson
Yeah,
uh does like the chopping, and each time, uh,
Aiden gets it.
yeah, Aiden gets hit. KJ, is that his name? He ducks it, and then Aiden, just fed up, double chops KJ's back because he's annoyed that he has to take all the chops. So I really liked that spot. I liked the beginning with the legally distinct rat that KJ was carrying in his mouth.
You
Um,
mean Pikachu?
Totally copyright free rodent.
I didn't even
Um,
know it was a rodent, to be fair. So,
yeah, it's a mouse.
see, you learn something. And for a time, I used to watch Pokemon.
Mm,
Well, I say I watched it.
I
I'd
got
catch briefings before.
I got about 20 episodes into the anime and then stopped.
And at this point, I imagine Pele and Grayson having full on tantrum, just going, how can you besmirch Pokemon?
Yeah, I'm gonna no,
Sorry.
what's even worse is that the only games I played is Gen 5 and Gen 8. And to poke the Pokemon fandom, that's apparently like a cardinal sin to only play those two. But those are genuinely the ones that I've only played. So
We're getting blocked, aren't we, after this?
yeah.
The star ratings on this podcast is just going to get lost. I can imagine the reviews on this show now.
Yeah, the angry Instagram stories.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Um,
And as much as um, I was annoyed with KJ after the match because they'd fallen. I mean, it wasn't quite a pratfall, but it was close to it after the match of KJ rolling out the ring, but then almost kind of. Oh, you'll see it in the clip. He falls almost head first out of the ring. It's it's funny, I have to say. Uh, but then technically he did get his comeuppance because he saw my bottle of water and tossed it across the far side of the room, which had me wanting to go and get it, but not wanting to give him the satisfaction of making me go over. And lucky for me, we went into an interval. So I didn't look like an idiot.
well, hey.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, I really want this stipulation to be like to carry on for a while. Uh, I want to them just run through the whole tag division. Like they can fight the New Horde, O5, um, Sador and Vesper. They can fight John and whoever John decides to team up with that week. No shade to you, John, but it's twice now you've done that, and you've only had 4 matches. Um,
he's a specialist. That's what he is.
yeah, tag team specialist. Slambulance.
Brian.
Trying to think.
I want John and Brian.
John and Brian, yeah. Well, Brian and AJ need to have a match to decide who
That's what.
John's actual partner is, because both of them have teamed up with him
Yeah.
now. Um, but yeah. I would love to see the stipulation continue for a while. Um, because it just adds a little bit of like, spice to the mix. Because you got to think, is this the time where Gen 1 won't be fine? And I like how they're not like putting the disconnect onto one person. It's a case of Grayson goes off of impulse and like goes with the flow, while Pele tries to be more strategical and planning. And in the match, half the time, what Grayson does works, and half the time it isn't. So it balances the 50-50 of who is out of sync at any moment.
Hmm.
So I do like how they did that this match.
And I will correct myself. Uh, Brian Strong and John did tag team at the Greatest Showcase against Northwest Strong.
Yeah. Brian and AJ, I said this need to have a match to be John's tag partner.
Sod it. Brian and John.
Um,
He can say he's worked with his dad then.
yeah. Sam
Dad
Bailey
and
and
son. Who can
John.
who can say they've tag teamed with the father and the son?
Hmm.
I'll leave that with you. Uh,
Kane probably has, with how
yeah,
long he's been around. Mick Foley as well, with how long those two have been around. They've probably tagged with someone's father and son.
probably. Uh, we go for the interval. We come back from the interval, and we have the Adrenaline title match, which originally scheduled to be Tony Wright and Dynamite Lee Dawson. But we have HT Drake coming out. And one thing I love about this was you want your bad guys to come out with a lot of truths. Not just when they tell a truth and it's annoying because you can't say he's wrong. He was correct, the best kind of correct. Because he said the last time he was in a ring with Lee Dawson, he beat him. And the fact that he's been winning matches, he is deserving of a title shot. And you can't disagree with anything he said, which is annoying from a fan's point of view, but it all makes sense. And you can't say that about a lot of wrestling things. So we end up with a triple threat match. So the notes I have, and it isn't many to be fair, uh, Drake kicks right straight from the off, spraying water into the eyes of Lee Dawson. We then see Tony leaping off Brett's rope, only for Lee to catch him in midair. And I've said this before about Dawson. He is easily one of the most strongest in that Futureshock roster. You look at him and you think, he, you don't think he's going to be that strong. And he is deceptively strong. Let me tell you that. So while he's kind of got Tony Wright in his arms, he uses the legs of Wright to attack Drake. Dawson then hits a spinning, twisting neck breaker. Drake then hits a double clothesline, scoops up Wright, and drops him onto Dawson. Lee then lowers the bridge for Drake to go over the top rope. Tony Wright goes to try and take his head off, that being Lee Dawson, but he ducks the clothesline and dives through the ropes to get HT Drake. We then see a double code breaker from the Drake one, before, in the end, we see Tony Wright hitting the claim to fame to retain his Future Shock Adrenaline title. What was your particular take on this one?
Um, it was a pleasant surprise having HT Drake, there. Um, I do think he could, like, it is one of those names where it's like, I'm surprised they left him off the graphics, but I like that.
Mm,
It kept a really good surprise, and it is true what he was saying, but I just think we were saying this, I think earlier that month, he's like the one of the only credible world title contenders because he got so far in Lotto Thunder.
mm,
So it was a bit of a surprise to see him wanting to go after the adrenaline, but I really liked this triple threat.
mm.
Unlike most, where it's like, oh, two people fight, one
Yeah,
person gets knocked out,
yeah,
the other one goes in. Apart from the ending, all three men was in the ring the whole time. And
yeah.
it wasn't long until one of them got back up and back into it. There's a lot of three-way brawling, and it
Mm,
wasn't just uh, Lee Dawson and Tony teaming up against the bad guy. There was some of that, but they
yes.
still, were fighting each other and giving as good they got. Even when Drake was up, they were still going after one another. Um, there was people, aka Jack, who thought that who said that Lee Dawson was kind of like the Lily Winter of the Adrenaline Title division, where they always seem to be around it. But I disagreed with him because I don't think this year he's been around it at all.
No. After he lost the title, yes, he was, and even kind of when he had the title and a couple months after, he was in more likely challenging for that. But then it just felt like he got lost in the shuffle for a bit. Which, I mean, if you check out earlier podcasts, I've said the same thing of Dawson is an asset. Um, Always has really good matches, but there was just a time where he wasn't either on a show. Again, whether that's injury or just circumstances, I don't know. Um, but since he's kind of come back in recent months, it almost felt like he's been rebooted in a sense. Um, so I'm glad to see Lee back on shows. Um, but yeah, what you said about the triple threat rules. Traditionally, when you have these matches, as you say, it tends to be two in the ring, one goes out, then they do have their little match, and then it kind of rotates. Other than when kind of like Dawson went out to do the dive to HT, there's not really another section I can think of where the match was outside. They very quickly got back in, and it wasn't like, right, we'll do our bit, we'll do that bit. It was just it felt. One thing I'll say about this compared to any other triple threat match I can think of, it genuinely looked like a fight, which is what you want to see in these. Sometimes it can
Especially in
be,
this division.
yeah. On a lot of other promotions I've been to or watched online or other things, it seems far too kind of polished and you know what's going to happen before it happens. At no point in this match did you think, all right, this is going to happen, and then that'll happen. It didn't, and that's why it was so good to watch. I'd arguably say it was challenging for match of the night. Um, but there's one I think particularly stole the evening, which we will come to in a wee little bit.
I will say, um, just before we move on, I really want to see where this goes because Lee Dawson, he hasn't held a title in over 2 years now.
Mm.
April 2024. He hasn't challenged for the Adrenaline title in over a year. That was in May 2025.
Mm.
So, like, he has come back rebooted, but it's not with the same success. So I do want to see how his character reacts because there's two moments in there where I I genuinely thought he was going to get the free. One of them was it was HT Drake was in the corner, and I believe he suplexes Tony
Mm.
while HT was out, and it got like so close to a free. And then another one was when he does the dive to the outside on HT Drake. Um, I thought like it's gonna be a simple throwback in and pin, or if not, Tony, wasn't gonna get there in time.
Mm.
But so I do think the match really succeeded in making it believable that Tony could lose the title, which is really good for this stage of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's been like a bad title defense. Tony's title run has been incredible. Like I can't think of anyone that at the very least they've all been good. I can't think of one where it's like, oh, it was all right. Like they've all been good and above.
If I want to get nitpickety, I would say I of any title we have seen, it is the only one really where since Tony won it, we haven't had like a kind of a feud or anything seemingly trying to set anything up. I mean, for the women, we had it loosely with um, Lucy Sky for a brief time, and kind of like Lily. For the men's title, we've seen Troy loosely kind of Tony, and the main one we have seen is kind of like Slam. Um, but other than that, we've not really had anything. I mean,
I
you
think the
could make the case
closest,
for
I think
Oberman
the
as well.
well, I think the closest was with Sam Bailey, the trying to like little brother him at
Mm.
the start of the title run. I
And
think
that's pretty
that
much,
that comes the closest.
and
And
nothing's kicked on since then, really.
because it looked like for a little bit that we had those amazing promos between Najee and Tony,
Mm.
but then Najee got involved in the Horde, so it kind of left Tony out. I mean, Gorgon did get a shot at the Adrenaline title, but once again, Tony was left out
Yeah,
because it was
it's been
Najee interfering.
it's been
So,
more the number one contendership that's been built more than the actual title. It's almost like the adrenaline's took a back seat to what's
but
possibly going to.
to be fair, I sort of prefer it because Tony's story was about getting to the title.
Hmm.
So I kind of prefer it's where it's like he can, slow down. He can, just focus on defending it and being a proud champion.
Yeah.
Because not every title needs to have this one story to bind it.
Hmm.
Like, because the tag titles, that's been FTM and O5 for a while.
Yes.
Declan has been bouncing between mini feuds that
Yeah.
he's been going on. The women's division has been between Lucy Sky, Lily Whitton, and Holly Barlow, and they've had like a sort of three-way feud
Hmm.
over the title. So it's nice to have one where it's just, I'm a great wrestler. I'm gonna show you why.
Yeah.
And it's like he's like a train station where it's not one of the main ones, where it's just on a couple of lines and people are trains that are passing through it. And it's like, but it's a nice looking train station because as you
Is
sit
it a
there, like,
horn bit?
oh, that's nice as you go through. And sometimes you think, oh, what? What do we think happens at that train station? Will
I
we
just,
know? We'll only know when we get off.
I just love the fact as you went into that, the camera zoomed in as if it was really like, go on. You couldn't. It could not have been timed better. Um, again, though, uh, as I say, it's more of a. If I was nitpicking, that's what I would think. Um, we then come to our technically our. Well, I get the thing. We come to our penultimate match of the night, as we have Slambulance taking on Bryek Strong and Adam Shakespeare. And I realise I have not written notes. So this could be a lot of fun. Sam, I will let you go on this one first.
All right.
And I will
So
piggyback off you.
this was Adam Shakespeare's debut.
Was
Um this match, it was really interesting because we had three big hosses
mm,
involved, and they did, like, the typical heel thing of they're isolating one person, and then but what I liked is that they did it twice. So they did it once with Proctor, once with Slam, so it gave both men then the Hope tag spot at
mm,
different points in the match. And I did like how um they gave Adam Shakespeare, the chance to thrive,
mm,
because he got to work not just off of Slambulance, but off of uh Bryek instructing him
yeah.
on, what to do. So I really liked it. There was a lot of slaps and punches to the backs, and it sort of was like a good uh appetizer because it was a different match than the other two matches that it was sandwiched between.
Mm,
So it was like a really good filling
yeah.
because I liked how it was a different style than what was around it. And it really, I like how with Slam we're seeing a little bit more each time from him,
Mm,
because we got to see, him put on the back foot, because normally his strength is what allows him to dominate, and that's why he normally gets, those hope spots when after Proctor's been beaten down on. But in this match, he's the one that gets overwhelmed
yeah.
and gets stuck in the corner because he's up against two men who are equal strength than him. So I really liked how it subverted what we usually see in a slambulance match. And I would like to see more of that, because seeing new sides of wrestlers is really fun to see.
Mm.
Yeah, I think overall it was a solid match, and it's nice to see that Bright has made a friend.
I'll say this for it. What it did well was give Shakespeare his first match. Did not look out of place at all, which again is a good uh, glowing reference, if you like, for the Futureshock PC. Because it's definitely a case of if they think you're ready to be put on a show, they won't do it just to kind of make themselves look good and go, oh, this is someone from our kind of like performance center, and just chuck you in. You're going to be kind of like really prepared and ready if you do it. Um, Bryant and Shakespeare looked very good as a tag team. They look like a really kind of like throwback two big hosses tag team.
They had really
Uh,
good chemistry throughout.
it it reminded me at times of the old natural disasters from like the early 90s, like earthquake and typhoon, where you've got Bright being more the kind of the earthquake, where he does more of the power moves. Typhoon can just use his kind of like bulk and help to wear down, where it's kind of like earthquakes, the more like above in the team. So you've kind of got like the top one in the tag team was Bryant, second was Shakespeare, but at the same time, it never came across that way. They were kind of both even. Um, Slambulance was a good choice, I felt, uh, to have Shakespeare because you kind of know what you're going to get with Slambulance. It's as much as it's really kind of like good wrestling and sometimes you can, I'm not saying predictable, but you know when certain things are going to happen because it's what they do. And if they don't do it, you feel let down. But to have one of Shakespeare's first things being kind of getting the defibrillator, if you like, off Proctor, I think it was like the second move he faced was that. And he really did a good job of making it kind of mean something as opposed to maybe just not doing anything about it or trying to play it off. Uh, he really did a great job on that. So fair play to him. Um,
This might be the one match on the card where I would have actually preferred the outcome being reversed.
yeah, I thought that's where they were going to go with it
Because
because it made a bit more
it
sense.
yeah,
If
and I kind of wanted it to be Shakespeare picking up the victory because to say he this was his debut, him and Bryok
mm,
shared the ring, I want to say 50-50
yeah,
between them. Like there wasn't necessarily hot tags, but there was frequent tags
mm,
throughout. They really shared the workload on their side. So like I and because Slambulance is really loved by the Future Shock crowd
mm,
and they're kind of like established, I don't think they would have taken anything
no,
by losing this match.
no. It's I'll go as far to say even if it wasn't Shakespeare that got the win, you could have had him do kind of like the finishing move and then have Strong get the pin. Because even then, it still makes Shakespeare look this monster. And
Or
then saying,
like,
this is what you're going to be seeing further down the line. This is
or,
what Future Shock are going to be dealing with. And
or like
Strong could just look at him.
Ryan.
Yeah. It's in a loose way, it's like Gorgon and Solomon, where it's like Gorgon saying, this is my monster. He's going to run through the Future Shock roster. And it's almost like Bryant coming out with his own monster
Could
and
we
saying,
really need more heel teams? Because at the
mm,
moment we have the Tevlins, uh,
Sador and Vespa,
Sidor and Vesper, kind of cooling in Seraphin, but they don't really team much.
FTM.
And then FTM, but FTM have just won the title, so I don't think so like if you're looking for actual contenders for the O5 to face, could they've already fought off uh Northwest Strong and they've already fought off FTM. So
Mm.
I thought a win here would establish this is their next competition. And I I would really want this match uh because it imagine the O5 having to play off the bases of Bryek and Shakespeare.
I mean, we do have another tag team that we're, we're waiting on. we'll move on. Um,
I genuinely didn't know who you were referring to.
I'll tell you in a wee bit. Um, so uh, did I? Oh yes, Slambulance took the victory. Uh, it was pinning Shakespeare, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe. Yes, yeah.
because the we had the mini argument where Shakespeare tagged himself in, which Strong did not particularly want to happen, and then they had their own little mini argument, and then I think it was Proctor pushed Strong into Shakespeare, and then we fell into kind of like their finishing move that Slambulance did. And that's how they won. We now come to your technically main event, which was an absolute cracker. Romy Kendrick against Teddy Ray. I have kept my notes very brief. So we have a feeling out period between the two, which results soon after in a intense head-to-head between Ray and Kendrick in the corner, to which some fans wanted them to kiss. It was so intense. So we have Ray soon after going through the ropes, hitting a double kind of like, it's not a drop kick. Well, it's a drop kick, but it's not a drop kick. Where you hold onto the ropes and your feet go out of the ring and you kind of just like hit them two-footed. It would help if I could remember half the actual moves, but I'm old and I don't remember stuff. So he successfully kicks Romy in the face. Kendrick gets back in the ring, and we see effectively is the theme of Ray targeting the legs of his opponent. This goes on for a fair bit. Some very nice technical moves by Ray, which you fully expect by him. Romy then fires back with chops and hits everything he can at Ray. But Teddy then will kind of like regain control, hits a flying Macho Man like elbow from the top. Does have to say, he did nearly do a coast to coast diagonally because he went so far, he only just managed to get Kendrick. And whoever say white men can't jump, that was definitely the opposite because he definitely jumped. We then see a reversal in midair from Teddy on Kendrick, where I don't know what Kendrick was trying to do. I don't actually think we managed to see what he was attempting because Ray pretty much reversed it into an armbar, locks it in, but Kendrick manages to get out of it. Romy then rallies with a clothesline. Then we kind of see him where he throws him up. So he has him cradling him in one way, throws him up and hits a cutter, which I thought was a suplex until I watched it back, and it was an actual cutter. Really nice move, I've got to say that. Romy misses a 5-star frog splash, regroups, but then hits a spine buster on the Rat King. Second time, though, he does not miss. And we have a frog splash, which is an epic frog splash by him. Picks up the victory. One thing I will say about this match, and I will give credit to both Ray and Kendrick, and even Najee on a hot afternoon, they have the longest matches, and um, I did not want to beat any of these three. Um, Najee probably had the toughest because I think his match went something like almost 19 minutes. This one went about 18. I think it was like 18 minutes 17 or something like that, according to the video uh, that I took. But fair play to put on to put on a top quality match and what I thought was match of the night in that heat. Um, Not the warmest venue I've seen a show in, uh, to be fair, but they put on an absolute cracker of a contest. Sam, what were your views on this one?
Um, I've said it once before and I say it again. Every Romy Kendrick match I've seen is a great match. He just has a natural charisma about him, natural showmanship about him. Also, Teddy Ray is just great. Every time you see Teddy, he just gives it 110% plus the dishwasher thrown in for free. Um, it's just two really great performers who just knocked our socks off.
Yeah,
And at first, I was confused why the Adrenaline title wasn't going on last, but then these two just proved why they were going on last because it were just an absolute barn burner. I think this is definitely the statement match for Romy Kendrick. He's been built up as, he's been undefeated. He's never been pinned or submitted. His only loss comes in a four-way when he wasn't even the one who got pinned. And he actually hit the finishing move. It was that the pin was stolen from him by Oberman.
yeah.
Let's remember. So technically
How
he's
can we forget?
so I think this is the statement where it's like Romy is uh Romy's our guy,
Mm,
you know. And at this point, it's just a matter of time before they put some form of gold on him. Uh he
I,
could he could go for the tag titles with Romley, with Lee Dawson, but I think the Adrenaline title
yeah,
would be the best for him because that title, as we've seen with Tony, is all about putting on great matches each show, regardless of if you have a story or not. And Romy just does it, whether he's currently in a story or when he's not. He just puts on great matches every time we see him.
I was
So
going to say I would love to see Tony and Kendrick. I think that would be a hell of a match. Even if no storyline, that on its own, I would very much pay money to see.
yeah, I would 10 times over. Give us that like you could run that at any month. Just say Romy's
Yeah,
going for the adrenaline, and I would be sold on it. You do not need to convince me anymore. He is a great talent.
yeah.
Even even just say, oh yeah, Romy's gonna fight for the world title. I'd be sold
Because
because he's just that consistent and that great, and he just carries himself perfectly.
it's what we've said before on here of even if there have been matches where he's had absolute crackers, ones that may not have been going to plan, shall we say, he has shown once or twice he can make a match that may be going off a bit and then steer it back into the on back on track and make it even better, which again is a credit to him. Because I think it's fair to say on this podcast, we're all fans of Romy. I'd really like to just drop Miles in it and just say he's one of them that doesn't, and just not tell him I've said it.
Just start
And
slander.
then just wait for him to just get messages saying, "Oh, I'm not that good, am I?" I'm not that cruel.
I mean,
Yeah, actually, yeah.
any man who can carry Joe Blazer to a good match is a special talent. So, like, Future Shock, if anyone's listening, put a belt on him. I don't care if you make one up for him to carry. Just give him a belt because he's earned it. Because what is it been nearly a year now?
That's a good question. I can't remember when he made his debut. Can I find out? Just keep talking. I'll do some digging. Well, I can't.
All right. I'm gonna say he doesn't yet have a cage match page. I know he
No,
was at.
that's what I was looking at.
I know he was at Attitude Era 2.0, where he was The Rock. But
Before that.
but he definitely made his debut before that. They won't put his debut as an Attitude Era show. So I mean, they did calling Attitude Era 2.0, so maybe it was that. So yeah, over a year, 'cause that was February 2025, if I am not mistaken. So
Well, I am looking now. He was in a 6-man tag at the anniversary show last year. But I think
either way, it's been about a year of
I think his debut was. It will be a year come the 15th of this month. He took on Bryant Strong. And yeah, that was his debut.
But yeah, you can quote me on this. Put a belt on Romy by the end of the year. I don't care which one it is, he's earned it by this point. Because every single match he has been phenomenal, and that consistency for a year, it should be rewarded.
So we'll convene in at Christmas time then, and we'll see if that rings true. So we come to our main event. I'll do it anyway. It's not a match, but as Declan McCarthy wants an answer from Troy Ryan on joining the MCPC, the McCarthy Performance Centre. I don't particularly have any notes. That said, I do have a video, which I'm hoping very much that the audio is going to work. If not, I will have to splice it in afterwards. But this is Dec McCarthy talking to Troy Ryan, pretty much just kind of sweet talking him, shall we say, and then what happened afterwards.
Working. I was in the gym working hard. I have since come after you. Yeah, that's the big man right there. For months and months and months. And it was spear after spear after spear. You know what happens? Last time we were here, you hit that man with that belt, his face, and busted him. His blood trickled onto the mats.
How do you know?
My meniscus. I was out for 9 months when I came back. You know what? When I came back, the first time, in this building, in this very ring, I got my organ shattered.
Really?
And I came back. And I and your Futureshock Men's Champion, Troy. I want professional wrestling to be better. I need you are given opportunities. I was not given opportunities. You should be the very best. You are very good. I need great. Troy. You should be the very best. You are very good.
My decision right now, well, I made my decision a long time I don't want your trinkets. This means nothing to me. I certainly don't need your help. But I wasn't lying. I made my decision a long, long time ago. And that is that I am your next Futureshock champion.
So, as you will have heard, if not, I will just splice it over the top. Declan McAfee not getting what he wants, hoping to try and get Troy Ryan as the newest recruit to the McAfee Performance Centre. Troy revealing under his meat wagon shirt that he had a McAfee Performance t-shirt on, and then gave the thumbs down in a Triple H Randy Orton sense, and proceeded to just beat every member of the MCPC, throwing Declan out amongst his trainees. I'll probably get that wrong now. But what Troy said, he wants to become the next Futureshock champion. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens from this point onwards. Is he going to put his name, or is he going to be the next Futureshock champion? We now ask Sam on what he thinks on, does he feel, or what did you think of the whole sweet talking by Dick to Troy, and then what we may get down the line?
So I will admit this one got me. I did honestly think that Troy was
something I don't know.
that Troy was going to turn heel. I was said Tony because I was thinking maybe they'd have him fight for the adrenaline title, because Troy kind of suits the more fast pace, like train sort of matches, going back to, and still going back to that analogy. And so
Station shock.
I was surprised when it was a double turn, the Triple H Batista sort of spot. See, this is a tough one for me, because on one hand, I would love to see Troy Ryan win the world title, I would love for them to put their flag in the ground being like, this is our guy. But on the other hand, I've enjoyed the sort of mini feuds with Depp McCarthy. So I'm like, so it's mainly because he sort of won the title immediately after the MCPC was introduced back at Bumps. So it's one of them things where it's like, I don't know if this still works without the title. So that leaves me a bit hesitant on Deck dropping it yet, because it's a good thing going and I want to see more of it.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, does the title, like, how much does that factor into the enjoyment of the MCPC storylines? You know what I mean? There's no frame of reference. So this is a match where I could go either way. I'd be cheering for Troy, but I would like to see where they take it if Deck was to retain.
Mm.
So it's one of those ones where I won't know which is the correct option until hindsight, like
Yeah.
most people.
It's a thing of a few months ago, I made the point of the men's title had felt very much kind of discarded in a way when Joey was the champion.
And the open challenges.
It was a very case of it was just open challenges. For the main title to not have any real kind of story or any real feud, I think just did not help. Well, one, Joey for a start. Two, did not help the title. And three, it did not, I think, help the company to have your main title being relegated to really the fourth title on the promotion. Because the tag title was better, the women's title, and the adrenaline title. And it should not be the case. You can always have two titles even out, but there really was no excitement for the men's title. That said, since Dex won the title last December, it is by far the most enjoyable reign that I've seen at Futureshock since I've been going to shows. Since I've seen a couple of champions now, and by far this is the one that's had the more meaningful reign behind it.
It's only been defended twice up to now.
The thing is, though, with that, I am not completely against it not being defended as long as it has some kind of story behind it and you're incorporating possible challenges. I would happily take that over, say, any open challenge or kind of like a throwaway thing. So, like Slam, when he challenged, there was a genuine excitement for having someone you did not even consider challenging for the title in Slam in respect to it. And then we've had kind of like Troy, Tony loosely, but what they've done really well with Deck and the whole MCPC. Anyone within kind of like that group or people trying to challenge have all been kind of like lifted or elevated, which is one of the good things about it. So again, I'm not against it not always being defended. So when it does happen, it means a bit more, which is again, you could say I'm being slightly hypocritical of me moaning about open challenges, and then you have someone that's not defending it. But this has made far more sense and been more, it's made you want to go to the next show or find out what's going to happen next, where that has not been the case with the men's title for quite a while, I feel.
And I like how both times it's been defended, it's been earned. Because when Slam challenged, it was after Slambulance had beaten the MCPC with Troy. So Slam had a victory over Deck.
Yeah.
And it was because one, Deck had interrupted his match with Joey So he had that history, where it's like, and plus it's Fairfield,
Mm.
and Slam, made his debut at Fairfield. He's had the longest match ever at Fairfield with the Falls Count Anywhere match with Big MTV. He's and it was he represented how Deck was fed up with the goofy side of
Mm.
Future Shock.
Yeah.
So it did feel earned as a first defense, because this is literally like, this is just putting the wrestler who represents everything Deck doesn't like
Mm.
in front of him. So I liked that, and I liked how with Pele, with it being through Lotto Thunder, and then uh
Yeah.
Declan not defending it since. It sort of brought a little bit more prestige back to Lotto Thunder, where it's like, you only get a certain amount of cracks at this
Mm.
to try and take on the champion. So when you get it, it feels earned, because we haven't had a defense since March.
Mm.
So
Plus,
it adds more to the prestige.
because it's the thing as well of, if you look at every title match, it's meant something. There's been like an interweaving story, whether it's been for the title or kind of like aside from the title, but there's always been something like going into it, which again is why it's been a really good reign.
I think it's because he's also doing other stuff
Hmm.
that's around it. It's not just like he's pissing off uh, for a couple months while not defending it.
Hmm.
He's either trying to gain more members, like with Troy, or he's trying to strengthen up, his side, or he's trying to
Hmm.
silence someone who doesn't necessarily have a problem with him with the title, but him with the performance center. So it's sort of making it like he's a dragon on, and the title is his pile of gold that he's on. Like, because it makes it more valuable while also elevating him and everyone around him. So I will say now, especially now that the FTM05 storyline's over,
Hmm.
and the fact that Holly's been defending a little bit less and less, it's now where it should be, where it's any given month with the Adrenaline title. They sort of go
Hmm.
back and forth, because I remember going into Test of the Faithfuls, like, we're really high up there, because it's like, oh, it's, Pele's getting a shot of it,
Yeah.
someone who hasn't had a shot of it. And
Hmm.
I like how that's been a running theme with his reign. I hope more people, like we're getting with Troy, it's now 3 people who's never had a crack at the world title finally getting a chance at it. And it will be interesting when it happens, because a year ago, 2025 Lotto Thunder, Troy beat McCarthy in the semi-finals.
Hmm.
So he already has a win over McCarthy, and then the tag match with Slambulance. So it's currently like 2-0 to him. And I hope that he mentions that, because, long term,
Yeah.
it's you can look back over a year ago to now at how much has changed for both of them.
But as I'm looking forward to that bout down the line. But I think we can safely say for Troy Ryan,
what a guy.
and we'll kind of leave that there. But yes, that is the end of this podcast. It has been quite a long one. That said, though, this coming weekend sees the big breakfast at the Fairfield Social Club. Come one, come all. We don't know any matches, but we do know some of the participants that will be there. So, as it stands at time of recording, we have the leading man, Tony Wright, Alejandro West, absolute sensation on the last show that they had there. We also have Lily Winter, Brian Strong, Deck the Tevlins and Aziz, Pele, Oberman, Slam Johnson. I've misread that. And also, hot off the press, we have the 05 there. So I think one match looks a pretty obvious one there.
Yeah, they have been saying it for a while, so in their promos. So I'm looking forward to that one.
So we will wait and see.
Can't wait for Brian to fight Lily Winter.
It's the dream match we've been hoping for, and we're finally gonna get it. Hey, you never know. We might see Bryant turn up.
Could tag with his dad, you know.
Yeah. Well, we know they don't get on anymore, so which is sad. But also this Friday sees Salford City Wrestling. I'm trying to remember. Oh, friend or foe? I knew it'd come to me. Where we have Alex Boylan taking on Mighty Joe Young. Tony Wright takes on the picture perfect Mishki. Lily Winter and Natalie Sykes team up against Saxa and Leah Raven. So can Lily and Sykes coexist? Because that kind of alliance is on extremely shaky ground. We then have the Zumberweights taking on Banterbus, which will be a fun match. Four fun. I say four. There will be five because Uncle Ryan will be there. And your main event is Jack Johnson and Jensen Vesper as we switch completely shows. Jack Johnson going through the monarchy, to which Jack Johnson will be looking to try and get closer to the king of Salford. And if you want to know who that is, it is King Troy. But yes, if you're there at Salford on Friday, I will be there filming, because that's all I seem to do at shows. Say hello. I may bite, I may not. I haven't got rabies, which is a good thing. But we are slightly running past our recording time here. Thank you very much, Sam, for helping out once again. It is always deeply appreciated. But for me and Sam at this point in time, thank you for listening. Give us a like. And if you're Pele Invasion, please don't leave us negative feedback. We love Pokemon. We always have done. We're just teasing you. He says. Yes. Goodbye for now. And we will see you on the next episode.